Hi, I'm Scottie, and in this tutorial I'm going to give you a technique so that you can go out in public and confidently sketch people loosely and quickly. Sketching people in public can be a really fun and exciting experience, but it can also be really challenging, mainly because people move around and they change positions, which puts a bit of pressure on to finish the sketch quickly. Well, firstly I'm going to give you my top tips for beginners, and then we'll do a controlled exercise together to build your confidence and practice the skills you need. Okay, tip number one is to sketch with a sketchbook. So it might be pretty obvious, but when you go outside, it's much easier to sketch with a sketchbook. I'll get one with a hard cover so you can stand up and use it as a firm surface to sketch on. We just went on a vacation, and so I was sketching people around us, but it's very easy to then hold the sketchbook and have a firm surface to sketch people, and you can move around easily with it. So tip number two is how to find a good spot to sketch people. So you want to find a spot where people are either waiting for something or watching something, and you don't want to be too close to them. You want to be at a distance. So that means if you're on a train or sitting opposite someone in a bus, I wouldn't be sketching there when you're starting out. You have to look down at your sketchbook and then look up at them. That can create a bit of tension between you and the person if they notice that you're sketching them. So if you find a quiet corner at a train station, you can sketch people on the other side of the station waiting for a train. Usually people are looking at their phones and they won't notice that you're sketching them from that distance. I've also tried sketching in parks. So you can see here that I found a really great spot here where people are playing chess, and people that would walk past to have a little look would stop for about 5 minutes to check out the game, and they'll give me just enough time to sketch them before they'd move away and somebody else would replace them. So somewhere like that is best. Also, if people are watching street performances, if you're in a city, that's another great spot. But generally in every town centre there should be a place where people are hanging out, waiting, watching something. So tip number three is sketch small. So when you find someone to sketch, don't fill them as one figure that fills out the whole page. We're not doing a 15-minute sketch on someone like we do in my other tutorial projects. We're actually only doing a 3 to 5 minute sketch. So it's a lot faster. That means they need to be smaller. Therefore you have less details. Okay, tip number four is to sketch simple big shapes first. So you can see on this reference that we're going to use later for the exercise, we have these figures here. We're going to start at the top. I always usually start at the top of the head, and we do that main head shape. And then we move down to the torso, so that includes the arms, but don't worry about the hands and different features crossing the body. It's just the silhouette of that main shape. And then we go on to the legs, and we're not worrying about the feet or anything like that, just drawing a simple shape of the feet. So we have three shapes, starting from the top: head, torso, legs. And that means that you can quickly capture the pose, and if they move, you've already got the pose, and then you can focus on the details after that. Tip number five is to sketch basic proportions only. So in previous tutorials I've done real in-depth into how to structure your figures, and we use dots to map them out, make sure that the whole figure is in proportion. But with sketching in public, you don't have the time to work all these positions out. So we're simplifying a lot. So the way I look at it, between the shoulders and the ankles, the crotch is about halfway, so that we have two main sections of the body. Now if you have a little bit more time, you could try and measure that top half as being 3 heads high. So if you have a head length, roughly the size you have the head, you make that torso about 3 head lengths down to that crotch. And then you double it down to the ankles. So that's just a general quick thing that we use when we're looking at proportions sketching in public. And the last tip, which is probably the most important tip, is to sketch smart. So what I mean by that is your mindset. How do you approach sketching people in public? So the best mindset to have is not to be precious. We have to avoid perfectionism and embrace our mistakes. A lot of my sketches that I've done are unfinished, abandoned, and to be honest, pretty bad. But that's why I love it. It's a great way to challenge your perfectionism and help you loosen up. So when you're starting out, grab a really cheap sketchbook, fill up the page with unfinished sketches. If people are moving, don't worry, just move on. When you're sketching in public, it isn't about creating a single artwork. It's to think of it more like a collage of mistakes. You might have one gem amongst your sketches. You can see in this sketchbook, I did the top half of this lady and then she moved, so I just stopped the feet. Then I started this man and he walked away. Same with this person, got down to the legs and they stood up and walked away as well. Now we're going to do a controlled exercise to go through the process of sketching people, but also build your confidence and practice the skills that you need. And just a little disclaimer, because we're sketching from a photo, I know that it's not a perfect comparison to sketching in public, but please take these tips and this process and you can use them when you're sketching in public. So grab your paper and your pen and let's do an exercise. So our first figure here, let's just draw that head shape. Go around the top like this And then let's go down here. And that's your first shape. And so then the next shape is that torso shape of the shirt and the arms. So go around, that's where his shoulder is there. So that's the general shape. The arm there on the side. And that's the second shape done. That shape there, that height is the same height as the legs down from the crotch. So let's do the outline of the legs. And it comes out again, quite a thick leg, and then up. So there, we have the 3 sections. And then you can add on the details, and if they move a little bit, you can just apply those details to this pose. So we can add the feet, and then the hands. So I'm just outlining basic shapes. For example, the shorts across there, the buttons, and a pocket. Then the face, we have the ear and then the hair like that, or the eyebrow and the eye there. Just mainly the bottom of the nose, and then a little shadow under that lip. There we go, a very quick sketch. So I'll move on to this next figure here. Okay, once again, we're starting at the top, at the head, around the head. So this is a general shape. So let's create that second shape. That's that first shape. So we've got 1, 2, 3. That's pretty quick. Thinking about that silhouette, don't overthink it. And the hands, once again, I'll do the face this time. And connect this eye, top lip and just under the bottom lip. And then some of the other details. Now we're going to move on to our third exercise, which is more of a timed exercise. Just use some cheap paper at the moment. Have a few goes. Okay, so I'm going to put a timer on here. So we'll start with that top shape around the head, probably making him a little bit more buffer than he is. Let's do that shape. Just 36 seconds when I looked up to do those 3 shapes. And that's all you need to do, 36 seconds, and you can do that. So now let's add on a few more details. See how long that will add on to our time. There's the feet. Just so those outlines, those shapes. His hair. And go down about a third there for that eyebrow there. And then the nose, another third down the bottom of the nose. It's about 2/3 up from the chin to the nose. So I'm at 2 minutes 33. Now the last exercise I thought I'd include, just sketching 2 people, might be slightly overlapping, and the guy being covered a bit by the bike. So I'll just set up another timer for us. Just the silhouette, torso. So just draw that off there to the end of the arm. So legs come out there like that, down to the same distance across there. And I'm just going to the next biggest shape. The tie there. And now we might think, let's do the other person before they move. The head, this is the torso shape. Okay, so we've got some really basic shapes there for those 2 people, and we quickly did that. We can adjust it as we go if we like. Okay, so let's go through and do some of the details. That eyebrow, and then the top lip. There we go, really rough sketch of that person, and let's go in the hand. So just getting that basic shape and the finger. Approximately 7 minutes to do these 2 figures together. Now, even though I used my technique of the 3 shapes, putting a timer on for some of those, this is still a lot easier than sketching in public, but it's very good practice. It will build your confidence for going out and sketching. And if you have that process in mind and a strategy to look for when you're out there, I think that really increases your chances of success and enjoying it, which is the main thing, enjoying your sketching and having some sort of result. If your expectations are too high, your first sketch, you start sketching someone and they move away and then you give up. If you'd like to see the full version of this tutorial and have the reference so you can download it and sketch along with it, that'll be over on my Patreon page, where you also get full access to all my tutorials, my library, over 100 tutorials and fundamental lessons. And there's also a great community there where you can share sketches and chat with other people. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.